Hello guys, it's Jackson here, and here are my top 5 ways to easily improve your Minehut server. I have been a part of the Minehut community for over 4 years now, and there are many things that a server owner can easily do to improve the quality of their server. This video will go over 5 things that I believe will help make your server better. First up on the list at number 5 is focus on style. This tip is mainly about the little things such as your scoreboard, chat, and your holograms. Having a certain style to follow not only improves the look of your server, it can also make it feel more consistent and connected. The first step is to choose a style that you want to go for. This can be as simple as a color or as complex as a feeling. Try to choose a style that goes well with what you have already established on the server. Once you know what style you want, it can be as easy as editing just a couple of things. Make sure your chat is simple yet defined. Don't be that server with the ugly default chat, but also don't be that server with a chat that is impossible to read. Make sure your scoreboard follows the color scheme of your server and have it include only the important information. Keep this short and sweet, otherwise it could take up your whole screen. Finally, keep your holograms simple, but make sure they stand out from the background. My next tip at number 4 is hire the right staff. This tip is probably the most complicated out of the list because it isn't exactly straightforward as just changing a couple of things. Hiring the right staff is very important, however. If you don't do this, your server will be no fun to play, as cheaters will be everywhere. When hiring the right staff, there are a few things you need to consider. The first thing is that friends are typically the best staff. As long as your friends are not obnoxious and have some self-control, they are likely to be the most trustworthy people that you will ever find on your server, which is why I recommend making only friends high-level staff members such as admins. Just make sure your high-level staff members are trustworthy. Once you have a foundation of high-level staff members such as admins, and even some senior mods, you are able to find people willing to volunteer to help your server to do more menial things, such as moderating chat. I recommend setting up a way to apply for staff with a couple of simple questions, and then interviewing the best responses. Make sure the players have been involved with your community for more than a few days, and only give them the minimum permissions required. This means that if someone is a helper, you only want to give them permission to mute, or permission to kick. You do not want to give them permission to ban or break spawn. I recommend setting up a training rank for new players to join the staff team. This way they have very minimal permissions, while you're able to find out who is trustworthy and if they're good at their job. Staff members abusing their permissions can be a problem if you are not careful, and if it is a problem, do not be afraid to remove people from your staff team. As long as you follow the fundamentals of making a staff team, you should be fine and you can pretty much do whatever you want. Tip number 3 on my list is to include a tutorial. Not having a good tutorial is one of the most common flaws I find on servers. When I say tutorial, I do not mean a drawn-out lecture to teach the new players every little detail about the server. I mean something as simple as a hologram, telling the players how to start, and including something as simple as a /help command. The one thing you need to remember is that you need to make sure players know what they should do first, and make things easy to find. If you have shopkeepers, make sure that they are set up in a way that is intuitive, and include holograms above the head so players know where to look. There is nothing more infuriating than having to check 100 different places to find one thing that you're looking for. At number 2, we have build an interesting map. This can mean a lot of different things, but the easiest explanation I can give is to build something that you have not seen before, and this is quite simple. When you have an interesting map, players are more likely to remember the server, which means they are more likely to join back. Making an interesting map can be as simple as changing the walls to something more interesting. If you do not want to spend a lot of time on it, just make it into some sort of pattern or a color. If you do have more time, however, you could put a little bit more effort and then add details all over the place. Even if your game mode is done many times before, try to keep your spawn unique, add Easter eggs, keep things interesting for new and returning players. Trust me, just putting in a little bit more effort will make your server 100 times better. If things look nice, it'll just be a more enjoyable experience for everyone. The most important thing on the list at number 1 is to be creative. This is the simplest step on the list, yet no one ever seems to listen to it. Certain game modes on Minehut are extremely overused, and it gets repetitive and boring. I'm not completely against these game modes, so if you want to make one, go for it. I just no longer enjoy them, and I see them constantly. There is one thing though, if you do decide to make an overused game mode, make sure you do something no one else has done. I know that this is vague and doesn't seem all that important, but trust me, if you make something unique, it will be much more enjoyable. And so yeah, that wraps up the video quite nicely. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And leave a comment below if any of these tips helped you, or if you have another tip that you would like to share with everyone. Thanks for tuning into the video, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.